So you want to learn how to drift along corners. Well, it all starts with the basics, donut. If you can perform consistent and controlled donuts, you can drift a corner. Doing a donut teaches you how to countersteer and how to have throttle control to keep the car in drift and moving in a consistent radius. As you're performing the donut, you will have to turn the steering wheel slightly back into the corner to keep the car moving in a circle, and then you will turn the wheel out of the turn slightly to maintain your countersteer, all while you're modulating your throttle input. You will apply this same method to drifting a corner. Right here, I'm initiating my drift into the corner by powering over. I countersteer and lay into the throttle. Notice as I'm driving around the corner, I'm turning the wheel in and out of the turn slightly to keep the car moving around the radius of the turn. In addition, my throttle control determines how much I have to correct the steering to move around the corner. The purpose of figure eights is to teach you how to drift one corner and transition to the next corner. As well, it'll make you more comfortable drifting to the left and to the right. Think of figure eights as two corners. As you transition through the middle, you are now drifting another corner. You'll start the figure eight with the donut. Then you will smoothly leave the donut in preparation to transition into the next corner. To properly transition the car, you need to load up the car's springs with the car's weight. You can do this by holding a decent amount of angle in conjunction with smooth throttle inputs. This will load up the car's suspension just enough to force the car to rotate past the center point. In addition, this will also rotate the car to a similar amount of angle, but in the opposite direction, of course. Now see it in motion again. I'm leaving the donut. I start to load up the springs with weight and angle. Then I'm using the energy from the springs to transition the car. As the car is reaching my desired angle, I pick up the throttle quickly and drift the next corner. Okay, now we will address our steering approach. I'm steering in and out of the donut with throttle control. To leave the donut, I stop turning into the corner, and instead I turn out of the corner to point the car towards the next corner. I then hold my angle just before I transition. Next, I turn the wheel in the direction of the second corner while adding throttle. As I feel the car start to rotate, I allow the car to countersteer, and I lift off throttle for a brief moment. Lifting on throttle here will give the car a chance to rotate. Once the car is at my desired angle, I get on throttle. Then I apply the methods we've learned from doing donuts towards drifting the next corner. So let's apply this to an S-turn. I initiate my drift, and I maintain balance of the car through turn 1. Next, I load up the car, then transition into turn 2. I continue to maintain my drift, and now we've transitioned into turn 3. To link a course, you will have to drift the track corner by corner. I highly suggest that you drive through the track during your first lap to get a basic understanding of how the track is laid out. You can also slightly drift one corner to feel how much grip the pavement has. In addition, it's beneficial to ask other drivers for advice on how to link the course, or you can get a ride along with other drivers to see how they maneuver their vehicles on the track. I'll give you a real world example. When I went to my first drift event, I had a few issues to overcome. One, I needed to gain a better understanding of how to control my car with the way that it was set up at the time. And two, I had to learn how to drift the entire course and overcome the track's bumps and dips. Like I suggested earlier, I drifted the track corner by corner and gained an understanding of how to drift the track and how to maneuver my car. As well, another driver, who is now one of my drift homies, aka Daniel, gave me advice on how to approach the big dip from the downhill section of the track. I needed to hold angle as the car drove down the dip, then transition after the car's suspension began to level back out after the decline. Then for the last two corners, I learned how to let the car float to be able to link the corners without spinning out due to a lack of steering. Let's see a full run. I come in steady and clutch kick into the first corner. I transition and lay into the throttle through the straight. I lift off throttle quickly to let the car transition and hold angle over the dip, then transition. I power down the hill and drive around the corner. Then we transition again, but we allow the car to float into the corner, and finally we put the power down to complete our run. Pretty fun and simple, right? Now it's your turn to link a course on your sim or on a real track. After you master linking a course, It's time to prepare for tandems.